What's up, everybody? We get to watch LeBron James play basketball tonight in the year 2025, all the way here in mid-late November. I was talking with my wife this morning, and like presumably going to be the second or third best player on the court tonight. I'm glad that you guys are all here. I uh, I know there's going to be some hoopla about the starting lineup with Rui Hachimura starting at the three. I don't really have too much problem with it. I think you could go a bunch of different directions here. I know JJ Redick likes to switch with the starters, so a point of attack guy is less important than having a dude who can chase over the top of screens like a Marcus Smart. And frankly, Rui Hachimura is one of the five best offensive players on the team. And so this gives you just a jumbo lineup with a bunch of dudes who can score. There's some continuity with this group dating back to last year. I'm 100% on board with this move. And ultimately, the game is going to tilt towards different types of lineups depending on what kind of coverage is best for that opponent. So I'm 100% on board with it. Again, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I do not expect this to be beautiful right away. I expect it to be a little clunky. I expect all three stars to be a little too selfless to start this game. You're going to magnify that problem with the fact that they're playing the Utah Jazz. So there's going to be a certain amount of natural kind of pullback and effort that you would go to expect in a situation like this where they don't really truly respect their opponent all that much, right? So I don't expect it to be super pretty, especially since they play Utah again on Sunday. It may be a week or two before you see this start to kind of gain some steam. But I'm very, very excited to see LeBron James on the court with these guys. The 10-4 Lakers. Opportunity to go 12-4 if they can win this week. They got a pretty light schedule through the end of the month. So they got an opportunity to build a little bit of a buffer as they head into the next portion of the season. Let's look at some of your questions before we get into the game. What grade would you give Ayton so far? I've overwhelmingly been pleased with him. I kind of expected him to be good, frankly. I think his skill set fits exactly what the Lakers need in a lot of different ways. He's just a talented role man, which is something the Lakers haven't had since Anthony Davis. And frankly, if you look at the way that Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves in particular play, because they don't get a lot of switching at the 5 spot, as we saw with LeBron and AD, they were just always guarded by the same type of player. So a lot of switching between those two guys. But Luka's so good at cooking centers at this phase in his career that a lot of teams don't like to switch. And so that just unlocks a lot of roll man opportunities in action with Austin and in action with Luka. And so I think DeAndre Ayton, his skill set just fits really, really well in that situation. Does the team have a realistic title chance without the trade for a title defender? Right now, I think they're firmly in the puncher's chance tier, which means it's foolish to count them out entirely. I think obviously they look terrible against Oklahoma City, but in theory, they're better. They're capable of being better than they were in that matchup. I mean, we saw the Thunder get their butts kicked by the Lakers in a regular season game last year. Obviously, different team on both fronts. But I think that there's a capability for them to play better. I'm actually kind of secretly hoping that the Lakers get another showdown with Oklahoma City in the in-season tournament so that we get another kind of little sample size of information there. Otherwise, they don't play until February. And I think it'd be really good for the Lakers to have a game where they compete and are able to kind of go toe-to-toe with the Thunder. So I'm hoping they get another shot at that. All right. I'm super excited. Drew Dobbins says, do you miss Anthony Davis? I had a great deal of respect for Anthony Davis, and there are a lot of memories I have of him that will be basketball memories that I hold for a very long time, obviously, positive memories. But Luka's a much better player than him, and I've really enjoyed rooting for him. So it's hard to say that I miss Anthony Davis when I'm happy that the trade went down. All right, let's get into some basketball. Keontae George, fresh off a game winner, guarded by Austin. See the switch? If they're going to switch like this, it doesn't make sense to play a point of attack guy. See the point? So, they're switching all these actions. They don't necessarily need a Marcus Smart to chase over the top, which is why at that point, you get a lot more value out of Rui's offense than you do out of Marcus's defense. Good defense on the first possession, some good switches to shut down the action. Austin avoided a post mismatch. See what the Lakers run. A little ball screen with Ayton, a skip to LeBron. That was kind of predictable. They're definitely going to try to get LeBron involved here early. Like I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like borderline overly selfless to start this game. Turnover on the baseline out of bounds. Ace Bailey getting the start. Svi Mikhailuk still getting buckets in the NBA, coming off a little handoff. A little passive in that defending that action. They're going to post Rui on Ace. Little rise up. This is the kind of thing that you're going to see a lot with the Lakers. When you've got Luka, LeBron, and Rui all on the court together, chances are Rui is going to be guarded by a smaller player. This is a pretty big Utah team. And again, they're guarding him with Ace Bailey, who's given up a lot of muscle mass there. What did they call? Travel? That was interesting. It looked like he just kind of dribbled into his step back, but I must have missed something there. Ace Bailey gets a clean look on a soft switch there. Luka had a little transition cross match against Keontae George, but he ended up going to Rui, who still has the Ace Bailey matchup. LeBron's moving the ball here early. Good switch. Rui gets beat off the dribble by Keontae. That's going to lead to an open three. Svi pays it off. That's one of the downsides of switching is you're going to give speed mismatches away to some of your bigger, slower wings like Rui, and Rui just got toasted off the dribble there. That's going to be tough to recover from. Little double drag. Luka tries to split it. Oh my goodness, that was halfway down. Keontae's got Rui again on a transition cross match. Let's see if he just tries to drive. Nope. Instead, they take a contested three. That's a little bit of a lack of intentionality from Utah there. You just beat him off the dribble. Just go again. Well, that's another wide open one. That one on an offensive rebound, at least. So it's a little bit more chaos. Horn set. Back screen for Luka. Good look from three. Off. Little switch on the weak side. Markkanen, Ayton now switches on to Keontae. He's given space. Let's see if he goes to the pull-up. That's good D. Way to rack the closeout from Ace Bailey. That's a textbook example of closeout attacking there. He sees Luka closing out onto his high side, and he just rips baseline. Gets a big dunk out of it. Nice shot there from Ayton. Ayton's going to get spoon-fed so many of those off of the passing ability of LeBron, Luka, and Austin. Bad transition defense from the Lakers to give up an easy one to Markkanen. Ayton in the middle. Little jab step jumper, short. Good switch. Now Austin's on Markkanen. They're trying to back screen to get Keontae back on Ayton. That's more of like a drop coverage look there that time. Good defense, though. LeBron's running the right wing there. Kick it up. Almost turned it over. LeBron for three. Oh, just short. It was on line. He left it a little bit short. Easy looking transition for Markkanen. He just smoked it. Luka's got Svi. He's going to get into his chest. Little right shoulder fade. Nice shot. Just make shots, Luka. The foul grifting is nice and stuff, but it's better when you're just making shots. Kalen, LeBron has been leaning to the left like that on his jumper his entire career. I love LeBron. He's not the guy that you're going to teach young players how to shoot the basketball with his form. But for whatever it's worth, that shit goes in. He's been shooting the ball really well for the last few years. Another soft switch from the Lakers conceding a little easy pull-up three off of the handoff. Um, some of you Laker fans that were around last year, little step back three from Luka. Some of you Laker fans who were around last year will remember the Lakers losing a game to the Jazz right after LeBron and Luka started playing together last year too. Good steal from Luka, little defensive playmaking. And one? No, left it short. They need a timeout. So main thing early, giving up some clean looks in transition. Gave up a clean look off of an offensive rebound. Gave up 2 clean looks off of soft switches, where basically a guy just comes off a handoff and the dude's waiting too far back on the other side of the screen. Then on the other end of the floor, I think they've gotten a lot of clean looks that they've missed. A little bit of just a little bit of like that kind of awkward rhythm stuff that you come to expect when you see a new high usage player get added to the mix. Any questions from you guys when we're in the commercial break here? Will's already talking shit. Guys, I see Fire Rob says Reeves struggles with both Luka and LeBron. Reeves can't play off ball or defense. I disagree with both of those things. Again, you got to remember, like, at a certain point, it comes down to whether or not you can break down the defense and whether or not you can finish plays. And like, I don't think the Lakers are getting bad shots. They look really comfortable. They look like they're getting wherever they want to go. Basketball's a rhythm sport. Sometimes you end up getting a series of possessions where you miss some looks and the other team makes theirs. And, Svi Mikhailo gets a couple easy looks and makes them. There's a couple 3-point looks for the Lakers. Like LeBron got a clean look and missed it, right? Like Luka got a clean look on the left wing and missed it. Ayton got a pretty decent look there at the mid-range and missed it. It's more just over the course of the game are the Lakers going to be able to clean up the handful of little defensive mistakes they've had. And on the other end, eventually, if they keep getting the shot quality, they're going to keep making shots. This is a good one. If LeBron makes a documentary series similar to MJ's Last Dance, what part of LeBron's career would you look forward to watching and hearing commentary about? That's a really good question. Ironically, I'd probably say the Miami Heat years. They were the years that he faced the most adversity in terms of like what happened in that first season, which was like arguably the most humiliating moment of his career. It was also kind of like LeBron before LeBron. LeBron from Cleveland on, the second Cleveland stint on, was just so sure of himself and was like really established as just one of the premier, players in the history of the game, like kind of an unassailable type of dude. And it was that stretch in Miami where it kind of felt more up in the air. Like, what kind of direction is this going to go? Like that was where the path, bifurcated for him. And so it was kind of like an era that I'd be interested in learning some more about. Drew says, glad you do this, man. I only have one friend that watches the NBA, so this is fun hanging out. Yeah, this is kind of the deal, right? Like, we're all watching these games, and then we come together for the reactions, but, like, why not watch the games together? That's going to be fun. And we'll have, when we get to halftime, and especially if the game gets out of control, we'll start taking actual callers so you guys can come on stage. But I really want to stay focused on the basketball here in the first half so we can kind of pay attention to some of the specific things they're doing on both ends of the floor. Will, I did see the report about Draymond telling the Warrior front office not to trade for Lauri. I'm cool with that. I did not think Lauri was a particularly good fit with their need for kind of a guy who can create off the bounce. The Warriors have so many guys that are dependent on the system. It's why I was kind of high on a guy like Malik Monk when we went into the summer. Obviously, it's a totally different tier of player. You're talking lower level. You were going to get a first round pick if you traded for Monk. There was also the lower salaries, you don't have to send out as much, but it's like I think the Warriors need a dude who can create for himself off the bounce that can compromise the defense. See, that's another little bit of a soft switch there. Those are comfortable shots for Utah. They're not gonna. I'm a big believer in like you got to make people miss. Like if you go into your huddles and you're like, oh man, they're gonna start missing. Yeah, they will if you start pressuring them a little bit. You start making them rush a little bit. Austin went under that one. Ayton gives up a drive. Good contest. That's good defense. You're gonna win a lot of games if that's the best shot you give up. Alright, see what the Lakers go to here. Braun is our first sub, so presumably he'll be coming back late first quarter. Luka got a roll that time, missed a roll earlier in the game. Looks comfortable against Lauri. He's got a couple of decent little short rangers off against Lauri. Luka gets beat back door. Marcus looked like he got some ball there. I would have just called that out of bounds on the Lakers. Do I see Smart and LeBron playing together often? I do. I think that ultimately Marcus Smart's just a really smart basketball player that competes his ass off and makes a lot of winning plays. I think there's going to be a lot of games where he ends up closing. Whether or not he takes the starting spot away from Rui is going to have a lot to do with just how well Rui scores the basketball in the system. Okay, Lakers pull off 3 successful switches. That shuts down the action. The Jazz almost turn it over, but then a gamble gets them out of position. Quick little passing sequence, wide open corner 3. Gambling, for all the talk about steals and defensive playmaking, when you get in the passing lane and you miss, it can compromise you. And look, you switch all successfully and you damn near force a turnover, but then they get the ball away from you, and now they're getting a wide open 3. Clean look for Austin against drop. Kevin Love pick and pop, shows the ball to Ayton. Ooh, brick. Luka's got Keontae again. They're going to go to Ayton against Love. Okay. Sensabaugh got his hands in the cookie jar there. Are they going to call that a 3-point shot foul? Oh my God, he's going to get 3 free throws for that. Just Niles says Ayton has to develop a lower base with strength. Part of it, I think, is kind of like his body type. He's kind of a little upright in general. Ayton, there are fire hydrant bigs, and then there are Nurkic is a classic example where the dude just carries a lower center of gravity, so he's going to win a lot of those ground battles. Kevin Love's a guy who carries a low center of gravity, but Ayton in particular is not a guy that I think is going to just bully people to the front of the rim unless they're the thin type. But Ayton's going to struggle against some of the lower center of gravity, strength oriented bigs. Niles, you're right too. 2 straight up as well. There's a way to lower your center of gravity with the way you play, but that can only go so far as well. If a dude can get up underneath you. But I agree with you that Ayton plays kind of upright. Laravia looks like he's ready to check in. Some good switches there. Jackson's on Keontae. Give space, contest the 3. Give space, contest the 3. That's good defense. That's fucking tough. You're gonna have to live with that. Great shot from Keontae. So aside from the gamble, the Lakers are starting to force tougher shots. Luka gets Kevin Love to linger too high at the level, and that opens up Jackson on the lob. Again, if you keep forcing him into these super tough contested mid-rangers, you're going to come back into the game pretty quick. See how Love is too high at the level? That opens up the lob pass to Jackson. Nice finish. But it's the gamble mistakes. Those are the ones that you can't live with. But as long as you force them into those pretty tough mid-rangers, you're going to be in good shape. Drew says, do you ever go to Lakers games? I've only been to 3 NBA games in my life. Part of the problem is that I'm somewhat of a homebody by nature. And also, NBA games look awesome on television. I really enjoy watching them. I do plan on going to some Nuggets games this year, though. I went to Pelicans Suns in Phoenix with a work thing back when I was working with Verizon. And Anthony Davis basically got a game-winning putback in that game. That was way back in 2016, 2015. I watched Kyrie's first game back after his knee injury, in Phoenix with the Cavs in the 2016 championship year. It was right before David Black got fired. Late December, if I remember correctly. Most I've ever spent on an NBA ticket. At the time, it was $400 a piece, and it broke the bank. I was broke back then, and I saved up to go see LeBron play. and it was a great game. Like Kyrie ended up LeBron was like kind of bad in that game. It was really weird. He like hung out in the locker room up until right before tip off, and then came out like didn't even warm up, and then started playing. Kyrie kind of had a rough night, but he ended up hitting a dagger three along the left wing that iced the game. And then the third game I watched was the following season, the 2017 Cavs. It was when I was living in Charlotte with my wife, and we got like nosebleed seats for Hornets Cavs. And LeBron had like 37 and hit like 7 threes. So it was kind of a makeup for the bad game that happened in Phoenix. But those are the only 3 NBA games I've been to. Mike, I do plan on going to a few. I'm taking on considerable more work this season between the playback and then I've got Lakers Collective. We're pushing up to 2 episodes starting in December. And then I have the All NBA show with Adam Mares. So I basically have 10 recordings a week, and it's kind of kicking my butt right now. So once I get my legs underneath me and actually get kind of established in my routine, I'll start kind of expanding the amount of work that we'll be doing for um, like getting out to games, actually getting there in person. Should the Jazz keep or trade Lauri Markkanen? They should trade him. I mean, I'm a big believer in you've got to go about the process of finding who your number one is, and you don't know who your number one is. Lauri's definitely good enough, in my opinion, to be a number two with the right type of star, but he's on a completely different age timeline at this point. So, like, it doesn't make sense. You might as well turn him into assets that can help you get that number one. What a play from Jake LaRavia. So if you see what he did there, he went up underneath on the screen to basically trick him into thinking he was going to switch, and then he slipped out of it and dunked on him. Another tough midi from Keontae. Switching with Kyle Anderson. That was easy. That was very, very easy, Mr. Luca. Collier brings it up the floor. Anderson looks at Jackson, probes a little bit. Pitch back to Collier. No switch that time. Kind of got right to the front of the rim, but Keontae's on fire, so I get it. See if the Lakers can close the gap here a little bit more. Little easy midi for Luca. Oh my God, he's left that same kind of in the rim miss twice in this game. Collier almost went through Laravia's chest on the last one. I'm surprised he's not trying to attack again. Offensive foul. And Teddy, thank you for the super chat, man. It's much appreciated. It's funny watching Keontae pull his arms back at the end, like, no, don't do it. All right, Luca at the high post, little back screen for Rui. Same exact action they just ran. The Jazz defended it better that time. Oof, draws the foul on the spin. That was weird. Tried to clip the Laravia dunk and it didn't work. I'll have to try again in the next time. Do you think the Timberwolves will figure things out again by the end of the season, or is there early season trouble against contenders a concern? I was talking about this in the last playback, so I'm not going to go too long on it today. But basically, the Wolves to me are like the Philadelphia Eagles. They are a team that if you catch them on the wrong night in the regular season, they look terrible, and you can talk yourself into them not being very good. But then they just have these big physical linemen on both sides of the ball that can dominate in the playoffs, and then they look really tough to beat. And that's kind of the way Minnesota is for me. They can leverage their athleticism and strength when they get into the postseason. And so I'm not making the mistake of underestimating Minnesota ever again. Carson, I see your question about long-term goal. We'll get to that in the next commercial. Niles, I agree. I definitely think Luke is moving well tonight. Kalen says, "Who's the AJ Brown on Minnesota?" I don't know, Jaden McDaniels always looks a little pissed off, so maybe it's Jaden. Jaden has, like, the most, like, resting pissed off face I've ever seen in my life. On an NBA player, I should say. Another switch there, now Jackson's on Collier. Good closeout from Laravia. Oh, no! LeBron's coming back in here, late first quarter. One of the nice things about LeBron, he never plays on, like, a real minutes restriction. When he comes back to play, he comes back to play. He may not play that many minutes tonight, but it's not gonna be intentional. Sensabaugh can shoot it a bit. Left that just short. That's gonna be trouble. Nurkic is gonna do some damage to Jackson on the glass. That's a textbook example of that dynamic we were just talking about. LeBron, freight train, Laravia, 3 ball, boom! Yeah, Mike, just so you know, I it's not a problem, but, your the clipper is not working. Just keep saying, "Oops, something went wrong." That was a bad pass. No one was open there. Good block there. Was that Laravia? Offensive foul. They get him for pushing off. Same call that they called on the other end a couple times. Let's see what happened. Yeah, that's an offensive foul. He just kind of fended him off with that left hand. Much better switch from LeBron. See how he was up at the level, but they didn't get him slipping out of the screen. Jackson high screen. They're icing it, trying to send him towards the sideline. Nurkic did a good job there making the passing window very small. So even though the roll and the skip were both kind of open, it's just a tough angle to make that pass. Stairway to Kev. Yes, I do remember the 1 game minutes restriction for LeBron. That was funny. Up at the level, Luka's not doing a good job passing through the blitzes right now. All right, let's see what the Lakers got here. 7-0 run. Cody Williams on Luka. Laravia screen switch onto Markkanen. Laravia's creating space. Double team. Drive to close out. Hit LeBron. Nice little shot there in the middle of the floor. Where's the foul there? Everyone's literally just standing with their arms up. I do not understand that call. Mike, I'll try a hard reset real quick at the quarter. If I X out though, is it going to end the stream? Okay. MJT says going back to the games you attended, you definitely need to get out to some playoff games. 100% agree. I would definitely like to do that at some point. Maybe I'll see a Denver game this year. Just don't click end. Half second left. Someone's gonna throw a heave. Throw the heave, Jake. Oh. All right, fun first quarter. I told you guys it was gonna be sloppy. It definitely lived up to that expectation. I'm gonna just literally quick hop back out and hop back on. I'm literally gonna be back in like 10 seconds, and then I'll answer that question about the long-term goal. Alright, I'm back. We will try a clip when I, see another highlight. But yeah, so to make a long story short, I really enjoy working with the volume, and I also really enjoy working from home. So, I hope to always be doing something like this. That said, like, I'm a competitive dude, so, like, I obviously want to do more, and I always wanna expand, and so I'd love to get on television at some point. It's something that's a goal of mine. I don't know how realistic it is or whether or not that'll ever actually come to fruition, but I'm certainly going to do everything in my power to make that happen. Also, it's like a complete and total pipe dream, and, like, I just be aware that I'm aware as I'm saying this how ridiculous it sounds, but I would love to work for an NBA team one day. It's the one thing that I would consider leaving this to do. I love competing, and as much as I love talking about the players and talking about the games and breaking them down, I would much rather channel that into a team endeavor and, like, go to work every day trying to win basketball games. Whether that's a role, in a front office or whatever it looks like. That's what I would like to do one day. I just love competing and I love basketball, and it's what I would like to do. But, I also know that that's probably extremely unlikely to happen, and so you guys are probably stuck with me. So it's gonna be a lot of this, but the fun part is it's early. I feel like we're pretty established. I feel like, it hasn't even been 4 years yet that, since I started with the volume, so we've got a lot of room to grow, a lot of ground that I still wanna to tread, but, I can't complain, man. If you would've came up to me 5 years ago and said that this is what Hoops Tonight would've turned into, and all of you guys and all the support that you've given me over the years, I'd be completely blown away. I just didn't in a million years think it would happen, certainly not this fast, and so I'm just really thankful for you guys, and, I just dude, I'm literally sitting here watching basketball. That's what I'm doing for my job. I just feel very blessed. Alright, let's see if we get a response from the Lakers here to start the 2nd quarter. So we get Austin, Gabe, LeBron, Ayton, and Laravia. Austin, LeBron two-man game, that was a staple of the team last year. LeBron draws a triple team in the post, gets a foul, though, on Cody Williams. See if the Lakers can have a little defensive response. They've sneaky been a decent defense this year. They're 14th in defensive rating after their last game. LeBron on Cody Williams, skip. That's a great look. Quality offense. Just got to knock the shot down. That's another soft switch. Lucky Lauri missed it. Got to be up to touch pretty fast with Lauri because of how high his release point is. You got to stop. The Lakers are doing a terrible job handling the blitz. Also, let's credit offensive foul. Let's credit Utah too. I think we mentioned this earlier with Nurkic, and that was another good rep from Nurkic. But they're doing a really nice job on their blitzes of getting over the top and the big, really closing off the passing window so that there's not much of an opportunity to get the ball out where it needs to go. Brandon says, "Are they cooked?" Everybody, chill out. The Lakers are going to be fine. This is going to be clunky as they incorporate everybody. They have a much higher ceiling when all this comes together. And I still think they're getting good looks. Get up, Jake. Get up, Jake. Here comes Collier. Good closeout from LeBron. That's a blocking foul. That's going to be an and one. I thought Austin didn't get there in time. Thanks, Will. Thanks for the kind words as always, buddy. All right, another little Austin LeBron two-man game. Nice little closeout rack there from Jake. Kick out. Nice shot from Austin. Call, you're up high. Okay, Nurkic is on Gabe now. That's gonna be a problem on the glass. No, they switched back. LeBron's on him now. Much better defense on those switches. That's good D. Gotta get the rebound, though. Gotta get the rebound, Ayton. Good job. LeBron down the middle. Laravia threw a bad pass. That's a good, clean look. Knock it down. Oof. Good block from Ayton. Ayton wasn't having that one. Do you guys see LeBron loading up for that one, too? Mike says, how much Jackson are we going to get on playback? He is going to be on every once in a while, just not all the time. He already does so much work for us, and I just don't want to overtax him. He's always invited. Good little peel off there, but it gives a clean look to Ace Bailey, who misses it. This Jazz team is big, dude. Goaltend. All right. Good split from Austin. Drew a foul and one. As you guys can tell here early, LeBron is pretty uninvolved as an initiator. He's basically playing entirely as a connector right now, which is helping Luka and Austin stay in rhythm. I think it's the right idea. LeBron's going to find his opportunities. He's going to have his units where he's going to have more opportunity to be aggressive. He's also out of shape and out of rhythm right now. Um, I'm more or less okay with the offense to this point. I think they've missed a lot of clean looks. Laravia's missed two completely wide open ones. LeBron missed a completely wide open one. I'm good with the offense. It's just they got to clean up some of these defensive mistakes, be a little bit sharper in their switches, and they should be in good shape. Mike, that's an interesting question about Austin or Jalen. We'll get there in a minute. Another stop for Aiton on. Oh, that was an ambitious bounce pass there. Good kick ahead. Good bucket. Mike says, who would you rather have as a number one guy, Austin or Jalen Brown? This is tough because, like, the dirty little secret is I'd rather have Jalen as an all around player. But if I had strictly just to give 40 pick and rolls in a game to one of those two guys, I want to give it to Austin, not Jalen. But Jalen's got much more resilience against teams that switch. Austin's more of a guy that's going to cook drop. Um, and then Jalen's a guy that you can deploy on the other team's best player, which Austin is not. That's not necessarily his calling card. So, in other words, Jalen's the best player, but Austin, if I need strictly to just have a dude run 40 pick and rolls. Yuri says, is the 10-point streak in jeopardy? You must never have watched LeBron James before, sir. He's going to get his 10 points. He will stat pad those 10 points if he has to. Where do you think Braun ranks all time as an offensive player and score? This is a tough one for me because I think that LeBron, when he was at his peak, was nearly as good on offense as like the Steph Jokic group. But then just so much better as an all-around player, as like a hyper versatile defensive player of the year type of candidate, elite defensive rebounder. Like LeBron clears Jokic and Steph, but like kind of similar to what we were just talking about with Austin and Jalen. If I strictly was looking at the offensive end of the floor, I think Steph is very slightly better than LeBron, and I think Jokic is very slightly better than Steph. H Chicken says LeBron 10 points, death and taxes. You're absolutely right. Wolfie says, "What are you drinking?" I'm drinking an Arnold Palmer. Those of you guys who were here for the last stream will remember I talked about how I always keep decaf iced tea so that I can because I really struggle to sleep. So decaf iced tea, and then I just keep some lemonade on deck, and we just make fresh Arnold Palmers at the house. Which do you think is more likely to happen, Kings relocating to Vegas or NBA expansion in Vegas? My guess would be expansion, but, I've said this before, I am not very well connected behind the scenes, it's not my strength, certainly not at this phase in my career since I'm so early in the game, so I don't have a ton of information on what happens behind the scenes. I have a couple connections that I've built over the years, and have little bits and pieces of information that make their way to me, but I'm definitely not the guy that's gonna know everything happening behind the scenes. I'm very much basketball oriented, let's just put it that way. Who do you think is currently a better offensive engine, Ant or Donovan Mitchell? I'd go with Ant right now. I think it was Andy Bailey say that he thinks Mitchell might be the best American player right now, and I just disagree with that. Good slip out of the action from Ace Bailey to get a dunk. Nice little set from Will Hardy coming out of the timeout. Clean look for LeBron. Knock it down. Boom. That's going to be the key this year, how well LeBron shoots that 3-point shot. First one was online, left it a touch short. Did not leave that one short. Cody Williams, nice drive. Good help from Ayton there. Gabe's on a deep seal there. That's trouble. Ooh, off of Gabe. Good little flare screen there. Nice, easy action. Good feed from Austin right in the pocket. Who's the best second option in the NBA right now? I would say it's number 23 in blacks to lose if he wants it. But I think it's going to take like a month or so for him to get back to that point. But I mean, he made second team all. Like LeBron was sixth in MVP voting last year. I think a lot of people have forgotten how good he is at basketball. LeBron on Cody Williams. He's playing the high side. Good pass. Good pass. Mike the Clipper is still not working, just so you know. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to ignore it for the night, but just so you know. Nice little piece of defensive playmaking from LeBron there, too, jump in the passing lane. So on that little post up, it's a very similar play to what we saw from Luca on a lob to Jackson a few games ago. I can't remember. If someone can maybe call out which game it was, but a lot of times when teams are defending the post, they'll do that. They'll have the guy on the ball overplay the high side so that he has to spin baseline, and then they'll send the help, almost like a strong side zone, come flying over. And so LeBron basically did the exact same thing Luca did. He knew if I just spin off of this hard, the lob is going to be open because that second defender is going to step over off of the big and the dunker spot. So LeBron did it to Ayton, but for Luca, it was to Jackson Hayes. Very, very similar type of play. Another tough midi for Keontae George. Shooting the shit out of the basketball, young fella. Another LeBron Austin inverted two-man game that leads to the switch onto Keontae. Nice cut from Marcus. Nice finish. It's high IQ basketball right there, cutting off the post up. Lakers back within two. Ace Bailey on Austin. Austin guesses right on the drive. Tough. Tough, Keontae. Good God. Austin's got Kevin Love on a switch. That should lead to a double. It is. Cody Williams. Marcus Smart, top of the key for three. Way short. Marcus has been shooting the ball with his palm a lot, and so it keeps rolling off of his palm short. He checked Keontae. Good God. Luka. Oh, LeBron, shoot that. Lakers doing a good job cutting off of those double teams. Those are higher percentage plays than threes. Austin's got to be up higher though. Like you got to put the fire out. Who wants to put the fire out? What did we talk about earlier, guys? Dudes are not just going to miss shots. You have to make them miss shots. I wonder how that's going to result if even if they overturn it. Um, Kangar Mike says, "Do you see Keontae being a starting piece on a contender, or would his role best be in a bench score?" Right now, it kind of looks like bench score to me. The big thing is just there's no sort of sustained, efficient scoring from him yet. I think like in order to be like a real starting scoring guard, you got to be able to sustain the volume and efficiency, and that's just something that he's struggled with. I do think that there's growth that he keeps getting better. There's just like a little extra layer of efficiency that he's missing. Decent little playmaker too. And Mike, thanks for letting the guys know so that we can get it working next time that we run one of these. I'm not going to worry about it too much tonight. Jason, which of the older guys have underachieved the most in their careers? Like, can you give me a list of who you're like considering in this list? Like, are you just trying to like team me up for Paul George slander or something like that? Like, what's going on? 30 or older. Man, that's a tough question, man. I have to like come together with a list. I might have to confront that one a little bit later on. PG slander is appreciated if you like. My thing with Paul George in his career is I think there's a place for tough shot making. I think that it's a valuable tool to be able to hit, a dribble combination and rise up over the top and knock down a shot. But tough shot making depends on a high amount of variance. And Paul George was just never able to like tilt his game towards that being like the cherry on top rather than the meat and potatoes. He was just always a tough shot taker. And when you look at the dudes that have had a lot of successes over the top shooters, they're the Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard types that tended to get closer to the basket for higher percentage looks and shot, with less variance. Is Peyton Pritchard the best contract in the NBA? Can he bring a starting point guard for? Can he be a starting point guard for the 26-27 Celtics? Let's see what happens here. Yeah, Keontae put his hands on him, but he got his hands off. Did they overturn it? I'm more or less okay with that being overturned. All right, Marcus Smart's on Keontae. Let's see if he can put the fire out. Little horn set, back screen. Marcus did not let himself get screened there, but that ended up giving up position for Rui. He slipped right out of it. Good board, Marcus putting it up. Didn't leave that one short. Big shot. Back to 7. LeBron on Keontae now. Good switch from Rui. Stay up though. Good switch. Rui almost got beat on the slip again, but he got back in front. Oh, Ayton, just put your freaking hands up and make him make a shot. He had his textbook example. He had his arms down. So then when he rose up, he got him on the elbow. H Chicken says every Marcus 3 feels like a heave and a prayer. Yeah, he's for me, Marcus. I like every. There's always like a you think it's going in or you don't. Like Rui gets a clean look. I think that thing's going in. Marcus gets a clean look. I feel like it's going short off the front of the rim. But let's hope that trend shifts over the course of the season. Brand says, "Man, this Lakers starting lineup is going to struggle defensively when they're not engaged. Like guys, when the Lakers are kind of BSing, they're not athletic, so they're going to be bad defensively. They're going to be fine when they engage themselves mentally. Like they didn't get beat there because they can't guard. They got beat there because they stopped paying attention and gave up a slip for a wide open layup. Like that's just bad basketball. That's not a personnel weakness. That's like just dudes not doing their job." Rui clean look on the swing back, left it short. Switch, Keontae on Luca. Marcus is fronting the post on Lauri. Marcus is still battling Lauri. Good contest. Little soft on that. They're lucky that he missed that, but you'll take it. Luca's got Keontae transition cross match, pull back three, way short. Luca's been off on that jump shot today. That's a good contest. Tough bucket from Mikhailu. 10-point game. Very reminiscent of last year's Jazz game when Luca came back. Jackson, another nice short roll read. Good passing lane closeout from Lauri to break the sequence. Bucket, though. We talked about that in the past. Like a lot of times, those passing lane closeouts can get a dude to hesitate just enough to break the sequence. What a move from Mikhailu to shed Luca. Oof, bad defense. And one. Now get the three back. Kind of a low gather. And just caught Svi kind of sliding a little bit into his space as he went up. Exploit says, did Svi hit the rim on any of his shots? No, I don't think so. All right, see if the Lakers can cut this down below 5 before the end of the half. They just need to get some stops. Austin on Keontae. Keontae gets downhill, smokes a layup. Good contest from Austin that time. Luca goes through Kyle Anderson, gets to the rim, draws a foul. Luca has looked good going towards the rim. It's just been the jumpers that have been missed. A viral Agarwal puts a very interesting point to the table here. I think it'll be very difficult for this Lakers front office to construct a better roster than Nico did for Luca in 23-24. I don't disagree, but I want to take it a little step further and say that Boston was kind of tailor-made to beat that Mavs team. They specifically had a forward in Tatum that can switch from the center position onto ball handlers, which shut down their typical 4-out, 1-in spacing pick and roll actions, essentially making it so that they couldn't get those easy lobs for their bigs for Gafford and Lively. And then when they put their bigs, when they put like Porzingis and Horford onto Derek Jones Jr. and PJ Washington, those guys really struggled with above the break threes in that series. And then Boston was one of the rare teams that could truly space out and attack Luka in space, which like I don't even think there's a single NBA team that can do that right now. It's very much a Boston Celtics problem. And that team doesn't exist anymore. So I mean, there's a version of this where that specific Lakers team could win. Oh, Rui. Great contest from Mikhailu. Illegal screen on Nurkic. The Mavs team still had flaws, but I mean, if you look back, I mean, there's like not every team's the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of championship teams have flaws. The Denver team that won the title didn't look like a very good defense. You know, like Rhymes with Bacon says, I'm a Mavs fan, Jason. Is there any hope? Not anytime soon, my friend. I'm very, very sorry. What Nico did to you was a half decade type of punch in the balls, for lack of a better term. Jason, doesn't Oklahoma City provide that forward that can switch from guarding centers to guards through J-Dub? Yes, but the flip side is Oklahoma City has a lot of smaller guards that struggle to guard Luka. And again, I know this sounds stupid to say after they eviscerated them last Tuesday or last Wednesday, but we've seen proof of concept with that in the past, where Luka has done damage to Hartenstein and done damage to their guards. That's not like, I mean, I think the Thunder team is better than that Celtics team. So, like, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'd pick that Mavs team over the Thunder. I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, like, it's a very the Celtics had a unique set of matchup traits that caused some problems. They were really big and physical. They didn't have small guards to punish, and they could really space out and attack Luka in space. Finally made one. All right, back to 4. See if the Lakers can get a stop. Kalen says, I wouldn't trust Rob Pelinka to dog sit for me. Very good, Kalen. This is a good question. What would be the best team for Anthony Davis to go to? Man, should a team like Chicago take a chance on Anthony Davis? Like, if I'm Chicago, am I looking at it and I'm going, he's a local, he can be had for cheap. What are you going to do? Like, re-up with Vucevic just because he's having a great season? Oh, bad pass. And no one ran the floor with him. 3 Lakers just straight up didn't run the floor. I don't know what Austin was thinking, like throwing like a crazy lob. And once again, guys, Jackson Hayes really struggling on the glass with Nurkic. AJ on YouTube says, "Bro, I'm a Nuggets fan, and I don't think we are anywhere near OKC. Last night against the Bulls shows our bench is still shit. Your bench had a rough shift in the first half. But like it was your starters that actually ended up getting their doors blown off in the late third quarter, and the bench that actually brought the lead back to 6. The Nuggets bench has cost them some games, but they've also been very good in some other games. And statistically, they've been about twice as good as they were in previous seasons, which isn't saying much because of how bad they were. But good contest. Starting to miss some of those tough middies. LeBron running the left. Oh, he got the foul. Man, that almost went down too. Yeah, hopefully Luka's okay. That was kind of a weird little inversion of his knee there. Brand, you're right about Vucevic's spacing, but the bottom line is you're not good enough to do anything. So, like, what are you gonna do? Re-up with Vooch in his late 30s as you build this like young, fast transition team? Like, ultimately, he's doing a very good job for you guys right now. But like, what's your next move? Like, do you like is Jalen Smith going to be your stretch 5, and that dude's just going to slot into the center position? Like, I doubt they re-up Vooch with a ton of money. You're right. Like, they need a younger clone of him, but like Anthony Davis would just be a fun, stupid thing to do. You know, like sometimes I just wish teams in the NBA would do fun, stupid things. Hopefully, Luka's knee is okay. Kind of a dangerous play. Luka learned his lesson from the last fee 3. He's up. Aiton's giving him some space though. Nurkic trying to post Luka. Good deep post entry that drew the foul. Lakers cut it to 3 though. Nice little response to end the quarter here. I know you're bullish on Pods before. Has your perception of him declined, or do you still see lots of upside? I've never really seen that much upside with Pods. Like I know Warriors fans are higher on him than I am. I just think he's a solid rotation player. Like I just think he's a guy that can be starting caliber. Like he's like a textbook. Like if he's the 5th best player in your starting lineup, you're in a good spot. But I don't think he's much more. Like I don't think he's ever going to be like that Jaden McDaniels esque. I know they play a different position, but I mean like that bona fide 3rd best player on the team kind of guy. Like I don't see that from Pods. I think Luke is fine. He can be a little whiny sometimes. Love the guy, but he can be a little whiny. 1-4 low with Mikhailou. Just gonna go dribble the clock out. Here comes the guard screen. Austin slips out of it. Luka ends up getting Keontae. Draws the foul. Yuri says, "What have you thought of the goat's debut so far?" Assuming you're referring to LeBron, I think he's been fine. I think that he has very clearly made an intentional effort to not trample on any toes offensively. Like I don't think he's taken a single like ISO jumper or ISO play. Every shot he's taken has either been a clean catch and shoot or like a drive of a closeout or like a lot of trans. We've seen some transition drives from LeBron in this second quarter. So like we've talked about how like if Luca and Austin are going to be the primary initiators, then LeBron's got to be essentially a satellite player, and that's what he's been to start. I think that's a good spot for him to start. If LeBron, as long as he doesn't care about the statistical achievements, which I don't think he should with how good this team is, like it really just comes down to LeBron needs to slowly ease his way into rhythm, primarily playing off the ball. He's going to get his opportunities. Luca and Austin have both sat out multiple games. Like eventually dudes are going to sit out games and he's going to have more opportunity to play on the ball. Like he needs to just kind of ease his way into it. Lauri trade fits are hard to find because of his salary. Like I was got a Pistons mailbag question in our last mailbag, because Markkanen's name was attached to the Pistons for a long time. And yeah, if you could just pick up Lauri and put him on the Pistons, like what an awesome fit. But you start talking about matching salary and some of the other difficulties there, like it gets complicated. And if like Danny Ainge is going to ask for some sort of insane asset return. So it's one of those things where like I as much as I would love to see him with the Pistons, I start to look at guys like Michael Porter Jr. as like kind of smarter alternative options. And it's just hard to find a guy that like it makes sense to spend a ton of assets and salary to bring him in. No one ran back on that possession. That's bad. They're lucky he missed. LeBron, pull up three. They call that a two? Nope, three. Jumper looks good, guys. That was the most aggressive like shot first decision he's made since he like that, like it was a very aggressive play. Keontae is absolutely frying the Lakers today. It's kind of an interesting sequence. They tried to pre-switch. So like essentially they set Keontae up with Aiton to go defend the screen because they think he can switch. Austin was the guy who was originally getting guarded by Keontae. As soon as Keontae ran up with Aiton, Austin relocated to the right wing and got himself wide open. Basically caught. He basically was countering Utah's pre-switch there, if that makes sense. Instead of sending Nurkic up to the screen, they send Keontae up. Austin then just slips out to the weak side wing. And you're right. Mike says he's got to close out better. He just needs to stay attached. Like if they're pre-switching, then essentially Ace has got to take Austin in that spot. But I think part of the reason was is Nurkic didn't want to take Austin. It's just tough. What are they reviewing here? So enthusiastic. Very well done. All right. Well, Austin has a chance to tie this game as we go into the half. The Lakers can get a stop. So I'd argue that the offenses still looked a tiny bit clunky and they're about to hang 67 in the half. I mean, I think this team is going to score the basketball really well. Coco TB3, could not agree more. I hate how long the reviews take. It makes no sense, and it ruins the TV product. Keontae's got Rui, but Lauri wants Austin instead. Beat him to his right hand. Great contest. Oh, he fouled him. That's a good call. Austin was just a little overzealous there. It's one of those things you did your job. You beat him to the spot. You forced him to take a tough step back. Just get a hand up. Live with the results. Oof. I love the heave rule. Love the heave rule. How would you grade LeBron's first half back? I thought it was fine. I thought he did a really nice job of not overdoing it. He just kind of fit in as an ancillary piece. Hit a couple of shots. Had some nice transition drives. You could tell he brings like a transition rim pressure element that I think is going to be really exciting. They did try to post him a little bit with that second unit there in the early second quarter, and they were just immediately double teaming and strong side zoning on like every single catch. So it wasn't like a he should be shooting out of ISO kind of game. Um, Ultimately, I just thought the team in general was a little lackadaisical on defense in some key areas, and I didn't think they shot as well as they could have shot too. So I thought they were fine on offense. It's a difficult job too to just kind of incorporate yourself in a situation like that when you've got a 10-4 team that's been playing good basketball without you. Let's see. Watch some Blazers Suns while we're enjoying halftime here, if you guys don't mind. You know, it's so funny. I really liked watching Jordan Goodwin with the Lakers last year. It's been so weird watching him kind of like unleashed on offense with Phoenix. Like he's taking a lot of like pretty tough off the dribble jump shots for them. Brandon says, "What do you see as the Lakers starting lineup?" I mean, to me, it really comes down to what defensive scheme you're running. If you're going to run drop coverage, then you should have Marcus Smart out there because he can chase over the top and he can funnel into Aiton at the rim. But if you're going to be switching everything, it makes sense to be Rui because at that point, the value of a point of attack defender is less as you're essentially allowing a team to pick who they attack. And Rui is just a better offensive player, although he's had a rough offensive night tonight. Brian says, "Do you wish DeRozan would have joined the Lakers at some point?" No, I do not. I really like DeMar DeRozan. I think that he is a underrated passer and a guy that, like, if you kind of run heavy offense through him, he's going to do a pretty decent job. But only for a team that doesn't have any serious goals. And he's a pretty bad defensive player. So I'm glad that he never partnered with the Lakers. Speaking of thoughts on Devin Booker so far, he's been awesome. I think what's happened with the Suns has been a really interesting example of like essentially the lack of redundancy, right? So like what bothered me with the Phoenix Suns and like we all saw this coming when they first put Devin and Kevin together, and when they added uh, Bradley Beal to the equation, one of the things that made the old Brooklyn Nets teams work, the Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant teams, was they had Nick Claxton, who was this very very gifted rim protector, rim runner type, and then you had Bruce Brown, who was like at that phase of his career, just like this kind of hyper impactful two-way forward wing hybrid kind of thing, right? So like they were a lot more strong in the satellite players alongside their three. And then, frankly, like Kyrie or James, whichever one you thought was the third best player, probably Kyrie, was just so much better than Bradley Beal. So even though they had some redundancy, they still had a roster strength in the form of their satellite players. And then you just had a better big three. For lack of a better way of putting it. But like with Phoenix, when you put Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker together, they had this redundancy combined with poor satellite players. And then Bradley Beal was bad and not healthy most of the time. And so it just never came to fruition. But what you did is you turned Kevin Durant into a starting caliber like two-way wing, and Dylan Brooks, who by the way has grown a lot offensively over the years. I think he had like 35 the other night. In that game that they blew against the was it the Raptors that they blew that game to? Who did they blow the 21-point lead to? I think it was the Raptors. No, it was Atlanta, right? Yeah, it was Atlanta. In the Atlanta big comeback against the Suns, Dylan had a bunch of points too. So like, and then you get another year. Ryan Dunn, obviously a second year player now, and some switchable centers that kind of add like that switching dynamic. And then Devin Booker, like he is not just a scoring guard; he's an all around shot creating like high volume guy that can generate quality shots for an entire basketball team. So I just think it's like they're not going anywhere. They're not about to go win any serious games in May or anything like that. But they are just a much more balanced basketball team, which is going to make them much more imposing to deal with on a night to night basis. Kaylin says, Jason, in your opinion, what is the biggest sliding doors moment of LeBron's career? My pick is Draymond suspended Game 5 in 2016. Can I go on a soapbox here for a minute? I was planning on saving this for tomorrow's show, but I'll just do it right now, and then I'll do it again on tomorrow's show. But did you guys know that over the last 5 games of the 2016 NBA Finals, the Cavs had a plus 11 net rating? They dominated that series after the first 2 games, like straight up dominated it. Like we see plus 11 net rating, we start calling the Oklahoma City Thunder one of the greatest teams of all time. That's literally what the Cavs were doing to the Warriors over the final 5 games of that series. Like I think it's frankly outrageous to just assume that Cleveland couldn't have won that couldn't have won a big road game in Game 5 without with Draymond playing. Like I think that's absurd. Like maybe, yeah. Like, do the Warriors have a better chance to win Game 5 if Draymond's healthy, or not suspended? Like, certainly, I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case, but like the Cavs dominated that series from Game 3 on, absolutely dominated it, outside of a clutch stretch in Game 4. And including 2 games where Draymond did play in Game 6 and Game 7, one of which was a blowout. And the second one, Game 7, the Cavs held a double-digit lead in the second half. The Warriors just got it close late. And then late in the game, the Warriors couldn't generate a quality shot, and the Cavs were getting great shots every time down. LeBron missed a hook right at the front of the rim in that Game 7. Kevin Love missed a hook right at the front of the rim. LeBron got fouled on a layup attempt, driving a left-handed layup attempt that didn't go, like that he didn't get the call. Like the Cavs were the better basketball team in that series and clearly demonstrated over the final 5 games. Like I think it's absolutely outrageous to pretend that they were just guaranteed to lose if Draymond doesn't get suspended. Like I saw that Bill Simmons take today, and I just very much disagree with it. I know Warriors fans are going to disagree, and like, look, it's not. I'm not going to convince anybody. It's just you guys. If you guys want to know what I think, I think that the Cavs win the 2016 NBA Finals because they were the better basketball team. And all the injuries and stuff, like, everyone's banged up when you get to that point in the season. Does no one seem to remember that Kevin Love missed game 2 with a concussion? Like, it's if Kevin Love didn't miss game 2, the Cavs would have won the series in 6 games instead of 7. See how stupid that sounds? Like, I just don't get it. Jason, what are your thoughts on Portland? To me, they just lack top end talent. I think they're just going to be kind of mid this year. I've actually enjoyed watching them. I mean, obviously they're mid. They're not about to go win any serious basketball games, similar to Phoenix. But really like Tamani Kamara as like a 3-and-D wing. Denny Avdia is actually one of my favorite kind of like mid-20s players in the league. I think he provides like a classic kind of big playmaking forward. Excuse me, big playmaking forward archetype, which I've always liked. Um, They've got some other, fun young players. Shaden Sharp's fun. Yang Hanson's fun. Like they got a lot of look at Dylan Brooks off the bounce. They got some good players. I've been a big fan of Portland. I love their ball pressure attack. I love how much they run in transition. There's a lot of things to really like about them. They're feisty. They're going to be a pain in the ass all season long, but they're probably just going to, be right around that 40 win mark and be a play-in team is the most likely outcome. Nice little ball movement from the Suns there. Good take from Shaden. Does Miami need to add a third big man insurance in case Ware hits a midseason wall? Is that your Anthony Davis team? That'd be fun. Could could Miami be the team that finally gets Anthony Davis into shape so he stops getting hurt? Colin Gillespie really went for the back jump grift there, and it looked like he wasn't going to get it, but then he did. I rooted for Caleb Love at Arizona. He was not my favorite player. I don't know what to make of the Clippers, guys. They should be better than they are. Their defense isn't as good as it should be. Kind of a little bit of Minnesota-esque in that sense. James has been hooping his ass off as of late. Obviously, Kawhi out doesn't help things. They just don't have that secondary ball handler that can create shots. But their defense just hasn't been very good. It's very strange. And yeah, I mean, making the move for John Collins in the context of expecting Beal to come in and help, and then Beal's gone, like that's tough to overcome. Jazz shot 55% from the field and 40% from three in the first half. The Lakers at 8 turnovers, not too bad there. Really, it's a 3-point shooting. Giving up 10 threes is going to put you in a tough spot. Muhammad brings up an interesting point here. Davis and Bam was an amazing duo in the Olympics. That is a good point. And Bam, I think Bam and AD provide enough aggregate offensive skill between the two of them that I think it could work. And again, like I got in trouble with some Heat fans today because I was talking about how, like, to me, the Heat are like not a very good team on paper. But they're 8-6, and they're right in the mix in the Eastern Conference, in large part because Eric Spoelstra's put together the system based on dribble penetration and playing with a ton of speed, and obviously just always the smart defensive game planning and situational basketball that Miami can always excel in. I.e. the Andrew Wiggins game-winning dunk. But the thing with Miami is they like as soon as you get back in transition and contain the ball and force them to play over the top, they're just not a team that's going to beat you in that sort of situation. They don't have the necessary talent. And they've been kind of stuck in that same purgatory forever. And like, you don't have Jimmy Butler now. You don't have the guy that's going to alpha dog the other stars in the Eastern Conference and carry you to a conference finals or carry you to an NBA finals. And so to me, Jimmy Butler is like, now that he's out the window, like this is all gimmicky. And I said that in the video, and that's what got me in trouble with Heat fans. But like, I don't mean gimmicky as a bad thing. I mean that as a compliment to Eric Spoelstra. He is, with Harrow out, Bam missing time, not a lot of on paper talent. He's competing and winning a lot of basketball games by constructing a system that maximizes every margin. And like he's looked at their guys and been like, oh, Davion Mitchell is beating dudes off the dribble and making 65% of his layups. He's like this incredible downhill speed, kind of like dribble penetrating threat. Jaime Jaquez is literally just fullbacking up the court and transition every single time he touches the basketball. And if he gets cut off, he's turning his back and backing down, and he's making good kick out reads. And so he's constructed a system that like really uh capitalizes on the amount of talent they have. That's cool and all, but you're not beating the other teams in the Eastern Conference when you get to the postseason. So like at a certain point, like you got to make a talent in play. The Heat fans were begging for it with Dame. There's been a half dozen different guys they've considered over the years. They wanted Donovan Mitchell, they didn't get him. They wanted Dame, they didn't get him. Who's going to be the guy that's going to be the talent play for them? And I mean, Anthony Davis is there to be had, and he's there to be had for cheap. I do not think Reeves will ever make All NBA just because of how good the league is, and playing off of Luka, it'll just be really hard. But I do think that I think Austin's one of those dudes that like is clearly in that like top 40, that like top 40 dudes that like anybody in that 15 to 40 range, you can kind of argue anywhere in that range. So like there's going to be a dude who makes all NBA at some point in the next couple of years where I'm like, I think Austin might be better than that guy. But like, I don't think he's ever going to get any sort of award for something like that. Pull up three from Devin Booker. Bucket. John says, Jason, what's the deal with Kuminga? I know he's gotten a strain of some sort, but he was taken out of the starting lineup and it seems murky again. You know, the thing that's frustrating for me about the Kuminga thing is like, has he been as good as he was to start the season? No. But he kind of feels like he's being scapegoated. And like the truth of the matter is, if there's a scapegoat type of conversation to have, it's the simple fact that he should have been turned into a piece that better fit their team. So like I just kind of feel bad for him in the sense that like they bring him in to start the year as a starter. He plays pretty well. They get off to a good start as a team, and then as soon as they hit some rocky patch, which really isn't his fault, then there's like kind of this weird passive aggressive behavior towards him, and now he's getting marginalized again. And it's like I just wish they would have. I wish they would have traded him over the summer. And they need to do it sooner than later and just end this damn partnership because it's been such a damn mess. Um, but I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with him. I feel like it's been there forever. Gotta be getting close to game time over there in LA. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys, back to it. Ayton on the short roll loses the handle. The Lakers have not handled blitz as well tonight. Easy layup for Keontae George in transition. LeBron's had a couple of those defensive rotations where he just looks like 2 weeks from now there'll be blocks, but just not yet. Well, Rui's off. Out of bounds. Travel on the rip through. All right, let's see if the Lakers can figure out these blitzes. Cross screen for LeBron post up. He turns the corner, gets to the middle. Nice little find. Come on. So LeBron curled off of the little cross screen for him and actually drew two to the ball, created a little 2-on-1 with Austin and Ayton, and Nurkic just like flamingoed his foot back and deflected it. Nice little closeout attack. Austin again throws it away. Just sloppy from the Lakers. That's a tough bucket from Ayton, or from Markkanen, excuse me. Jazz quick 4-0 run to start the half. Luka's got Ace Bailey's backing him down, and 1. Don't leave your feet, young fella. Don't leave your feet. Little chicken wing there for Markkanen he got away with. Gotta stay down, Ace. You did your job. You forced him into a step back. All right, see if the Lakers can get a stop, which has been hard to come by here to start this game. Nice little footwork from Ace there. Caught LeBron taking more of an aggressive angle for the drive. Tough shot. What a finish from Austin. Got downhill, got into the shot blocker's body, skipped his feet. Man, oh my God, Luka has been busted by that same jab step from Svi twice now, once for a 3 and once for a dunk. Easy one for Luka coming back. Kind of rejected the screen. So when you reject the screen successfully, the screen defender is almost always on the wrong side, and that gave up the layup. Good hands. Aiton on Nurkic. Rui's chasing. What a finish. Good pass from Nurkic. Rui probably should go under on that and at least force Ace to take a 3, but the help side was just not there. LeBron, once again, a little bit slow on the rotation. What a pass. Beautiful basketball there. Luka up the floor to LeBron. LeBron hits Austin trailing the play on the right wing. That's another tough bucket from Keontae. They're getting a lot of downhill pressure, though. The Lakers got to contain the ball a little bit better. Bucket from LeBron driving the closeout. Probably should have taken the 3, but got himself an easy one there. Little flare screen from Markkanen. They switch. Ayton gets back to Lauri. Lauri comes up into the ball screen. Watch the pop. Good reaction. Keep that hand up. Just don't foul. Ball screen was Fee. Got to switch it. Why do you? Why? You're gonna switch. There's no point in shoving him. You're literally trying to switch. Back screen to Ace. Oof, that was open too. Lakers have been switching a little bit less with this group, and they've given up some openings from it, like that back the stuff with Ace. Um, the couple actions there, they haven't switched with him. Cross screen for Luka. Him on Svi. LeBron's one pass away. Great pass. Nurkic was too far over. See if the Lakers can get a damn stop. Keep getting great shots. Timeout for Will Hardy. What's the main reason you think those top-seeded Jazz teams with Rudy and Donovan never did anything? Was there a fatal playoff fall, or were they just overrated on regular season success? The big thing was their defense. They were consistently a top-rated statistical defense, but it was a lot of Rudy Gobert in drop coverage. And what would end up happening is they would get into the postseason, and then they would be spaced out. and they'd get picked apart. The Clippers famously did that even without Kawhi. But speaking of the dynamic we were talking about with Dallas and Boston in the 2024 finals, like if you can funnel everything to Rudy Gobert at the rim, like yeah, you can make yourself look like a statistically great defense. But they were consistently playing some bad defensive players. Royce could guard a little bit, but Donovan was pretty bad. Mike Conley was pretty bad. Bogdanovich was pretty bad, and so they could just get picked on in space. And like, man, it was like they gave up some of the easiest shots I can remember seeing in a playoff series. Like just usually against a great defense, there's like multiple um breakdown attacks before they get a good shot, and those Jazz teams were giving up layups and threes off of like the first attack. Monroe says it's like the whole point of attack guard core was Luca's. Yeah, basically. That's pretty much what it was. All right, let's see if the Lakers can clean this up. King Guard Mike brings up Rudy's offense. I think Rudy's offense, yeah, to be clear, that's a big part of it too. Rudy can't catch and finish anything that's not like wide open underneath the basket, which makes him a pretty substantial offensive limitation. All right, let's get back to some basketball here. Horn set Lauri on the elbow, handoff switch, flare screen for Keontae. Austin goes through that one. Kyle Anderson, good defense from. What's the call here? This Utah team is very physically imposing. That has definitely been something that stood out to me this year, especially when Walker Kessler was healthy. Another switch with an inside seal. They're getting killed on that stuff. Yeah, I'm really impressed by the Jazz offense and just how smooth they've been getting in and out of their actions. Good quick attack from LeBron there for the and one. Should have been an and one. Luka's got to be better on defense. He's been getting cooked in this game. He's been pretty good on defense this season in the large sample. Not tonight though. That's tough, Keontae. If this thing gets close late, keep an eye on those Keontae jump shots. That's a little bit of a problem. Great D from Keontae. Austin just does a lazy post entry. Keontae was overplaying that left hand side the whole time. That's not where the pass angle was. We're gonna get LeBron subbed out here. No. You're not going to lose the game on that shot. You're going to lose the game on the easy layup that Markkanen gets off of the cut. You can control those sorts of things. How is that not continuation? Like, yeah, most of Keontae's buckets have been pretty tough contested jump shots here since the opener, but, like, a lot of Markkanen's have been, like, straight defensive breakdowns. Oh, they did give him the +1? There we go, three-point game. Collier has a chance to go at 8 and doesn't. Now he has a chance to go at 8 and Keontae does. Long on the 3. Look at Luka not rebounding again, just standing there while Kyle Anderson has inside position. Again, I'm gonna cut him some slack because 'cause he's been pretty good this season, but Luka's been not very good on the margins tonight. Ayton wins the rebounding battle against Kevin Love there. Just kinda pinned him on the ground. James makes a good point. All those wide open shots the Jazz got to open the game, get them in a great shooting around them. I'm a big believer in that sort of thing. Like, you play Keontae into some more misses early in the game, he may not feel as confident and in rhythm as he does now. Good poke away there. I do not understand that shot. You had 4 dudes running the floor. Like, just pass it. That's a big mistake if Sensabaugh can pay that off. Nope. Keontae, though. Kevin Love. Oh, they are very lucky this hasn't turned into points for Utah. That was a huge mistake from Austin on the break. Luka just got absolutely mauled on that one. Are they challenging it? Will Hardy is sick of Luka's bullshit, is what that is. But, like, there's some stupid basketball here. Like, so Luka just tried to dribble through a triple team. Austin just shot a 3 on a 4-on-2 fast break. Luka's not playing any defense. Like, this is stuff where the Lakers are just playing some bad basketball tonight on the margins. They gotta clean some of this stuff up. Rhymes with bacon says, "Welp, another 5-minute break." Yep, here we go. H Chicken says, "Lucky to only be down 1." That's their offense. Like, this team is so good on offense that they're gonna stay in games like this when they mess around, but it's just, to me, it's like, if you have any hope of getting close to where Oklahoma City is, you've gotta be so much sharper in your habits, and I just feel like games like this can be opportunities to build bad habits. And, like, so for instance, next week, you have this Utah game on Sunday, a rematch in Utah, which, by the way, is going to be a tough game because you've just given this team confidence that they can beat you. And then you go, I think, Clippers Tuesday, Mavs Friday, if I remember correctly. Their last 2 in-season tournament seeding games, which I think are both at home. Those are tough games. Like, you need to be playing better basketball when you get to that point. And if you practice playing bad basketball all week, you're going to come out and you're going to get your butt kicked by a more serious team. Although I'd argue the Jazz are playing more like a serious team than you'd think tonight. All right, let's see what happens in the review here. Yeah, they might get Kevin Love for a blocking foul there if they wanna keep the call, but, like, Kyle didn't foul him. Phil Kennedy's telling Luka to go away so he can make the call. How about you stop messing around with the refs, Luka, and stop flopping around and start playing some serious basketball? Come on, dude. Like, Luka, we all got video of that, dude. Like, we are all watching. They caught you in 4K. Let's focus up and play some serious basketball. You just tried to dribble through a triple team. All right, let's see if the Lakers wake up. Another back screen. Those little back screens have killed the Lakers tonight. Little pin down there. That's a foul though. You're hacking instead of just get in front of the player with the ball and make them make contested shots and you will win the basketball game. Stop dicking around and do that and you'll be fine. Horn set, that same little flare screen for Sensabaugh. Kyle Anderson, fake dribble handoff. Laravia, good closeout on Collier. That's tough. That's it. You kept the ball in front. They missed a shot. All right, let's go play offense. Go take the lead, Luca. Brian says, "How much did you figure there are that you're already watching, so you might as well stream?" Honestly, like I watch most of my games in the morning. That's typically what I do. It's just so much more efficient for me. I can watch a game in an hour in the morning versus 2.5 hours. It's more just I wanted to try this. I wanted to try watching games with you guys. Luca beats Kevin Love on the switch for a layup, and the Lakers have the lead. See if they can get a stop. Watch those shoves, Rui. You already got called for that once tonight. Oh, Sensabaugh got a clean look on Luca. Luca's lucky he missed that. Another gamble in the passing lane. Oh my god. That was a really nice. Was that Laravia that hit Jackson in stride? That was a beautiful pass. It was kind of a high risk pass, but it worked. These Jazz announcers are funny. They're definitely sick of the Lakers shit. Luca was going for that rebound hard and ended up drawing a foul, it looked like. I do love how aggressive Luca's being towards the rim in his last couple of possessions. Thanks to the review, LeBron's gotten a really nice rest on the uh, real world clock. Dude, the delays in this game are getting outrageous. There's no flow to this damn game. Will Hardy was an assistant with the Celtics, so I'm sure him and Marcus are close from those old days. Yes, I agree with sports fan Jack. This is insane how long it's taking to get this game moving. This is riveting television, guys. Yeah, the Jazz announcers are now like, "This is a weird pause in this game." Yes, it is. It feels like LeBron checked out of the game 20 minutes of real time ago, and it's been 2.5 minutes of game clock. Luka's getting some MVP chance. All right, here we go. We're playing basketball again, guys. Is this a zone look? No. Okay, man. Another back screen. Lakers are finally starting to defend those back screens well. Good. Keep the ball in front. Make them make shots. That's a tough one. You're not going to lose the game on that shot. Marcus Smart, clean look. Left it short again. Good rebound from Jackson. Take care of the basketball. Kalen, I think you're right. I think this is the first time in LeBron's life one of his teammates got MVP chance instead of him. Niles, I like the TJ Warren comp for Bryce Sensabaugh. Just kind of like a big forward that has like kind of an old man's game. Bucket getter. Mike, I think you're right. I think AD did get some MVP chance at various points over the years. Will Smart is shooting more than LeBron because he's getting left wide open. LeBron has been a mid 40s catch and shoot guy for years now, so teams aren't going to leave him open by design. Luka gambles again, gives up dribble penetration, easy swing, swing. Good closeout though. Made up for it on that closeout. Left his feet again. Oh, good rebound from Laravia. Lucky. Great pass. Got it. Nice little driving kick sequence there. Soft switch. Very lucky Lauri missed that. Did you see how far back Jackson was? He basically conceded that coming off the switch. They're going to double off of Marcus again. Left it short again. It's just he shoots off of his palm every single time, so he loses all of his power on the release. Same thing. It's going to get the same look. This time Marcus rolled. Okay. Luka has definitely taken the, ever since the challenge was overturned, he's definitely been like, "I'm going to dominate this game on offense." And again, a couple of defensive mistakes, but he's playing harder at least. 16 in the 3rd for Luka. Lakers by 7. They've cleaned up some things on defense here over the last few possessions. That's the key. Contain the ball, Gabe. MSMS says LeBron's the only negative plus minus. Go figure. The Lakers finally played good basketball for the first handful of minutes in this entire game while he was off the floor. Of course. The team has been terrible all game. Gabe on the screen gets the switch onto Nurkic. Step back three. Oh, just barely off. Jackson! Let's go! He's done some great work on the offensive glass in this 3rd quarter. Lakers by 10. See if they can get a stop. Little screen there. See that inside position that Markkanen got? Gabe did a good job kind of staying in front of the pass. Oh, Markkanen. Nice little closeout from LeBron. Oh, they lost Cody Williams on the back cut. LeBron skipped to Gabe. Boom! Did you see LeBron pose right after? LeBron posed right when he threw the pass. Just having that extra playmaker on the floor is going to make such a big difference for them. So the Lakers score 104 points through 3 quarters in their first game with LeBron. I'm going to go with that's good. Kalen, assuming LeBron gets to 65 games played, do you think he makes All NBA? I mean, it's kind of out of the realm of possibility right now. He's missed 14 games, so what he would only be allowed to he'd only be allowed to miss 3 more games the entire season. Kind of seems out of the realm of possibility, but assuming he plays all those games, I would just assume he makes All NBA because if LeBron plays 65 out of the next 68 games, that would mean that he stayed healthy and picked up a great deal of rhythm. And if LeBron's healthy and in rhythm, he's just one of the 10 best players in the world. Do I agree with Vando being out of the rotation? You know, I thought, there's a lot of different reasons why Vando's been out of the rotation. I think part of it is because the Lakers have done so much switching, and when you do more switching, there's just less value in an on-ball defender, which is the thing that Vando's best at right now. And then he's just been really bad on offense, and I actually think it's been less about the shooting. Like, obviously, the shooting is part of the problem, but it's not like he's taking too many of them. It's like the stuff he's been doing, putting the ball on the floor, has been very mistake prone. Like, most of those Vando little dribble probes into the lane have ended in turnovers or bad misses. I think he's gonna get his opportunities. I think Vando's gonna have a spot, not necessarily a permanent spot, but I think he's gonna have times during the season where he plays a little bit here and there. He just, brings athleticism. I mean, we'll see if he ends up getting traded too. That's always part of the equation. But I think most of it has to do with the Lakers' defensive scheme and just how bad Vando's been on offense to start. Gabe gave up the driving eagle. Nice little baseline, like, kind of rip of the closeout there from Collier. Collier brings some power downhill. Mike, are you around? They're saying the live score is frozen at 71-67 at halftime. They've been having some tech difficulties, guys. I'm not sure 100% what's going on. I'll be in touch with them after the stream. That's tough, Gabe. Good rebound from Austin. Cook 'em. A little bit of defensive playmaking from LeBron in transition. Skip to Gabe, back to Austin, to LeBron. LeBron drives on Markkanen, draws the foul. See, LeBron in this role is actually scary. It's like where he's primarily operating as a, just like this connector playmaker guy. Goes screen, beats him again. Man, the Lakers have been getting killed on these, like, little screen interchanges. The ghost screen again, it's a switch, but it happens quick because the guy doesn't actually screen, he slips out of it, and in that case, both guys stuck with the ball, Markkanen broke free. It was a tough pass, LeBron. LeBron's gonna shoot a bomb here, I can feel it. Nope, hits Jackson in the pocket! Oh my god! Damon is my buddy, and he is 100% right. Boy, Markkanen has killed them tonight. This game is still in the danger zone, you gotta be careful. Good skip to Laravia. Oof, gotta pay that off. Jake's cooled off quite a bit the last couple weeks. Nice little drop coverage rep there from Keontae and Nurkic. Hit Nurkic right in the pocket, little floater over the top. Good skip to Gabe. Made that shot a little tougher than it needed to be, but he knocked it down. LeBron's passing tonight, I think, has been very, very good for this team. See how Gabe got underneath Markkanen there with, on this to prevent the slip. That was good, but there he fought into a front. That looked like it went out of bounds. Good take from Austin. Draws a foul. There's just so many, like, advantages with this group, because LeBron's kinda playing in that tertiary role right now, and, like, LeBron's just like a above and beyond anything else, he's just a really smart player that can make reads at a high level, and, like, he's just made every easy read tonight, like, "Oh, you tag from the weak side? I'm gonna skip to the corner. You hang with me at the level with Jackson Hayes? Like, I'm gonna hit the pocket pass, and we're gonna dunk on you." Like, "Oh, you strong side zone a post up and try to take away the middle? I'm gonna spin and throw the lob to the big." Like, he's just taking every simple, easy read there. That's one of the tougher jumpers Keontae's taken tonight, and he missed it. Like, you gotta play these dudes into misses. Setting up in horns, little back screen for Austin off of 8, and it's gonna flow into action for LeBron. What a pass! Dude, LeBron is killing them with the, simple reads out of action. Imagine that, you kept the ball in front, another missed jump shot. What a pass! Hot take, I think LeBron James is gonna help the Lakers. Okay, that underdog tweet is legitimately funny. See, like, the Lakers are starting to get more stops because they're doing a good job keeping the ball in front and forcing them to take tougher jump shots. That's unlocking these transition sequences, and then there's just so much talent on the floor in transition that the Lakers are gonna be really good in those situations. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to get a clip out, which is actually working now, so alright, back to basketball. Little ice rep there. Nurkic did a good job, just blowing through Ayton's shoulder when he was in his drop. The playmaker is back. Couldn't agree more. LeBron's got Ace Bailey in the post now, and they lost Jake on the cut. LeBron again. This is insane. Sam says, "I feel like having Luka and LeBron interchange all game could be so good." Yeah, I agree. I agree. It was amazing. Like, I understand this is just the Jazz game, but the dynamic of just having another super smart dude who can dribble, shoot, and pass and play defense is going to help them. It just, I'm amazed at how many people galaxy brained that idea. He's not done. He's getting ready to check in. What a pat! Oh, LeBron smoked it. Another one to Laravia. Laravia finally made one. There you go. How many assists is that for LeBron now? Anybody got the count after the Laravia three? 12. That's crazy. 12, and he's been doing it all in the flow. There's been a little bit more advantage creation from him this half, but most of it's been in the flow. Oh wait, and he's he's taking away LeBron's assists and padding his rebound stats. I'll be really curious in the Sunday game to see how much the Lakers clean up some of their stuff in screening action that they've been sloppy in today on defense. Kalen, I think you got to include Nikola Jokic in that list, but I think those are your top three. They keep going. They keep spamming those like guard screens for Luca and LeBron to attack the post. That's Luca's second traveling call of the game. Actually, Ray says LeBron changed this game in the fourth quarter. I take it a bit further back to when Luca got that bad challenge reverse. Luca, I think, started the run by just being super aggressive towards the basket, drawing fouls and getting easy shots right at the rim. And then Luca or LeBron and Austin were just awesome in this early fourth quarter run. Just awesome. And that's the thing. You can hold them down for a certain amount of time, but it's a lot of talent coming at you every possession. Is Aiton okay? That's such an easy shot for Aiton there in the short range off of the blitz. Good D. Laravia was in the spot when Markkanen had that inside seal on Gabe. Oh, is that a pass? I think that might have been a pass. James says LeBron sits and then Luca comes in, devastating for opponents. I agree, especially if they're going to use LeBron like a passing fulcrum like that for off-ball action. Oof. So Austin 22 and 5, Luca 37, 10 and 7, LeBron 11 and 12. So keeping the flow going through Austin and Luca, LeBron basically operating as a connector, a little bit more aggression out of the posts in the second half. Laravia got it going in the second half, 13 points. Lakers by 21. Keontae coming up the floor against Gabe. Same little flare screen for Svi. Switched. Austin's got Lauri on him. He's bodying him up. Gabe lost Sensabaugh on a switch. Got a good contest there at the end. Did a really nice job getting up top at the release there. Surprised that one didn't go in. I have very much enjoyed having Luka Doncic on the basketball team that I root for, but he complains at the refs every single game more than any player I've seen. Just now says Braun's probably done for the night. Yeah, I think so too. I don't see any reason to bring him back at this point. He got to his double figures that he needed. Looked fantastic, frankly, especially in the second half. And it's his first game back. You got him in and out of the game without getting hurt. That's a win. Gabe did a good job getting behind Lauri. Their strong side zoning. There's the skip. Austin played 2-on-1 in the backside. He did a really nice job. Jeffo, it is 10:49 here in Denver, and I am waking up early to work tomorrow. So I'm going to stick around after the show to do, after the game ends, to do like a quick little, like 10-minute reaction to the game. So if you guys want to stick around, I'll do like a little synopsis on just everything that I've taken away from tonight. But then I'll have something more coming down the pipeline tomorrow. That's a good one, Kalen. Who would win a hypothetical playoff series? The 2018 Hawks, or 2015 Hawks, the 2018 Jazz. That's a tough one. 2018 Jazz is going pretty far back, my friend. Was that Donovan Mitchell's rookie year? Yeah. Jeez, that's so far back. I'd probably take Utah. 2016 Heat, was that the last Dwayne Wade year? Was that him yelling at the purple shirt guy? Was that year? Am I remembering correctly? 2017 was Wade's last year. Okay. Dud says, "How was LeBron's defense been to start the season today?" He had he had a transition steal there in the second half. I thought he had like 3 or 4 defensive rotations where he was just a touch slow, both in his read and in his jump. But that's to be expected. He's talked about yesterday about how he doesn't have much in the way of kind of lungs right now. Like he just doesn't have his conditioning. Like that part I'm not worried about with LeBron. I know LeBron's going to be an impactful defender for this group in the long run. Okay, so Utah does have a game in between the 2 Laker games at home against Oklahoma City on Friday night. Utah's 4-3 at home and about to be 1-6 on the road, so it's going to be a tougher game on Sunday for sure. Yeah, guys, there's some sort of glitch happening with the playback stream with the scoreboard. No idea why. But that's heading over to YouTube, so I apologize for that. But it is we're showing, for those of you guys wondering where we're at in the stream, we're showing 130 to 107 Lakers with 450 on the game clock as Collier crosses half court. Good dig down from Austin, shut down that dribble drive. Lost Ace Bailey on the other side, though. Good rebound from Ayton. I disagree with the Jazz announcer there. The Jazz announcer is saying that didn't the run didn't have anything to do with what the Lakers were doing on defense. I don't think the Lakers have been stalwarts or anything, but they've been much better on defense over the final 15 minutes or so of game clock in this game compared to how they were in the first 2.5 quarters. Jay Sanchez, yes, we're doing watch alongs twice a week for the rest of the season. Next one is going to be Friday night for Nuggets Rockets. That one is going to be a really fun one. I'm looking forward to that. I will let you guys know what we have for the streams for the following week. Probably on Friday night, I'll know what the schedule will be for the following week. Nate, did I catch any of the other games tonight? No, not yet. I actually had a game of my own that was at 6:30 local time here in Denver. That was before this one started, so I missed the night. But I'll be waking up early to catch those games. LeBron out for the 2028 Olympics. Yeah, I think so. Cameron says went from being down the whole game to blowing them out. Dude, just tightening things up on defense in that late third quarter and throughout the rest of the game. Luka finally getting really aggressive towards the rim, and then God, Ayton and Jackson have both been phenomenal on the offensive glass here in the second half. And then I thought that Austin Luka, or excuse me, Austin LeBron start to the fourth quarter was brilliant. I thought the two of them were excellent. Caitlin, I agree with you. I think Austin and Luka should probably check out at this point. I think it's time. As soon as those two check out, we'll do our little kind of instant reaction to the game, and then we'll call it a night. Here comes Bronny and Dalton. Is that Vando? No, it's a Duthiero. All right, we'll watch it. We'll watch it do for a minute. Dude, it's funny because Collier and Bronny both kind of look alike. Collier driving at Ayton. Good D. Tough shot. Krampus, there's some sort of glitch with playback that's not transferring the score over to YouTube. We're going to get it figured out after the. I'll reach out to the playback people tomorrow and we'll see if we can get it fixed. Ronnie for three. Boom. That was a deep one. Keontae got the arrow with the little low gather move there. Got to keep your hands out against these grifty guards. Lauri finished with 31 and 5 on 21 shots. Keontae George has 31 right now. They didn't count that last one, so make that 34 if he makes the free throw. Yeah, Lauri did really good. I thought he had a couple of tough shots, but he did a lot of damage. And I've been genuinely really impressed by Will Hardy's team just in how well that they move and screen and run their sets. You run sets for a very specific reason, like kind of what Steph Curry's been talking about, and he mentioned it in a post game interview against the Spurs too. But when he went on with I think it was the Inside the NBA guys, or no, it was the Amazon Prime guys, I think. But on Friday night, but Steph talked about this in his podcast with LeBron too, with the idea of basically you run all these like interchanges with the hope of making a defense make a ton of decisions in the same possession so that they screw up at some point and then someone gets wide open, right? And I thought the Jazz did a really nice job running their sets tonight, and like lots and lots of botched coverages from the Lakers that led to easy threes and layups. Credit to them. I thought they played really sharp basketball, but again, how you clean that up is you focus up and you don't make mistakes as you work through those interchanges, and then at that point it becomes a talent game, right? Like you run the sets to get easy shots, but once the easy shots aren't available, it turns into a talent game, and the Jazz don't have a ton of talent on paper, compared to this Laker team. And at that point, that was where LeBron, Austin, and Luka were able to kind of leverage themselves. And then credit the bigs too. I thought the bigs did a great job. Bronny was being a little too passive against the ball pressure there. He's got to attack him. Like as soon as you slow down, you're playing into his hands. You just got to go at him. He lost that battle as soon as he turned his back and started trying to like stand there. All right, this time they're having Laravia bring the ball up the floor. More ball pressure this time from Collier, it looks like. Bronny again. Be aggressive if he reaches. Good. Drive. Dunk on his ass. Good pass. Great pass, Bronny. Slide those feet, Darrow. Oh, soft switch. Cody Williams misses it. Hold on to the ball. Dalton with the ball now. He appears to be squeezed from the rotation as well with Gabe Vincent coming back. Boy, is that 3 turnovers for Bronny already? Slow-mo. Getting into some sloppy basketball here. Gotta love garbage time NBA hoops. Kleba not in the rotation tonight either. Probably more of a product of LeBron. Arabia draws a foul. All right, I'm gonna cut off the stream and we'll do our little instant reaction thing, and then we will get out of here for the night. Let me change the stage here. All right. So obviously not a great defensive effort to start for the first 2.5 quarters of this game. We talked about this during the stream, but really impressed by Will Hardy and the Jazz and just the way they ran all their sets. I thought they did a really good job throughout the game of just executing their sets and making the Lakers make multiple decisions. And, there were a lot of examples of guys slipping out of screens or coming wide open out of like Lauri slipping out of a ghost screen and getting a wide open three, or a guy back screening and slipping out and getting wide open. A lot of like little sequences like that. A lot of damage on closeouts. Luka was really struggling with Svi Mikhailuk on like skip passes and just simple little jab step sequences and things along those lines. And that was what allowed Utah to score as effectively as they did throughout the majority of the game. The offense looked pretty good throughout, but they were struggling to get any sort of momentum. Things really turned there in the middle of the third quarter when Kyle Anderson basically cleanly stripped Luka on a triple team out by half court, and Will Hardy challenges the call because Luka ends up picking up a foul call on the play, and they go to the monitor, they overturn it, and Luka must have just gotten pissed off, which was exactly what they needed to kind of light a fire under their butts. And I thought Luka at that point in the game really started to be more aggressive towards the basket. As a team, they started to clean up some of the defensive breakdowns that they had. They started to keep the Jazz in front, start to force them into some more of those tougher over-the-top jump shots. And then Austin and LeBron came in to start that fourth quarter and just were brilliant. Continuation of a trend from last year, and they end up running away and getting that blowout win. Zooming in on LeBron for a minute, it was very different than what happened last year, if you guys remember, with the return of Luka, right? If you remember when the Anthony Davis trade was made, both Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic were hurt at that point. So LeBron and Austin were kind of already doing their own thing at that point in the season. They were the two-headed monster. The Lakers were playing great defense. Dorian Finney-Smith was in the fold at that point. Looked like a great fit. If you guys remember the night of the Luka trade, that was when the Lakers went into New York and beat the Knicks, and that was where they were spamming that Dorian Finney-Smith pick and pop with LeBron, and they were killing him. And LeBron had like one of his classic, like kind of 37, 38 point all around dominant types of games. They had their own kind of thing going, right? And so when Luka came back, it was this challenge because Luka's very much an on-ball type of player, and you kind of had to figure out what type of like kind of rhythm you wanted to play with on offense. And they struggled with that at first. As a matter of fact, if you guys remember correctly, they lost a couple of games early in that era against, I think, Charlotte and Utah, if I remember correctly. And they looked very clunky on offense. As a matter of fact, throughout most of the tail end of the season last year, they looked clunkier on offense than we thought they would be with all of the talent that they had. One of the different dynamics with this year is because LeBron has been out and Luka and Austin have been together, the two of them kind of have their own thing going. But the difference is LeBron's not like Luka. Luka is not the kind of guy that is going to be able to just slot in and play a substantial off-ball role where he's like barely touching the basketball to lead possessions, but just kind of operating as a satellite player. I don't mean that as an insult to Luka. It's just stupid. Why would you do that with Luka? Luka's so damn good with the basketball. Give the ball to Luka and let Luka do Luka things. That's how you play in that sort of situation, right? So like with LeBron is so versatile in the various different kinds of ways that he can impact the game on offense that like going up to LeBron and being like, hey, Luka and Austin kind of have their own thing going. We need you to come in here and just kind of support them in any way that you can. That's right up LeBron's alley, especially at this phase in his career, right? Like as LeBron has gotten older, he's still a very good on-ball offensive player. And we talked about this in the stream. Like there are going to be days where you put LeBron into a featured offensive role because Luka's sitting out the tail end of a back-to-back, or Austin has a little bit of groin soreness like he had a couple weeks ago, or whatever it might be. Those guys are going to have their opportunities to take rest, and LeBron is going to slot into a featured on-ball role, and he's going to be able to do that job just fine. That is right in his within what his capability is. But what we saw over the previous years is like when it comes to like being the number one option on like a dead serious championship contender at in his 40s, it's not something that really suits his talents as well because he's not as explosive as he used to be. He can't really pressure the rim the way that he used to. And so in a lot of ways this is the perfect type of situation for him. He can slot in and do all of these complementary things. He can slowly build rhythm over time. He's going to get more on ball feature type of opportunities in situations where guys are resting. And so it just kind of like it's kind of coming together in a way that fits more naturally to these players' skill sets than last year in late February. I think it was late February whenever it was that Luka came back. At that point in time, it was a much tougher dynamic. How do you go up to LeBron, who's literally playing some of the best basketball of his career? Like he was literally peaking in that February stretch, like legit playing like one of the top 3 or 4 players in the world. That's why he was 6th in MVP voting last year. And be like, hey, dude, give the ball to Luka. Like it was a harder dynamic. This is much more natural. And like that came like that game was such a perfect example of how LeBron can kind of just like delicately insert himself into different parts of the offense in a way that works, right? Like in the first half, there was very little in the way of on-ball creation from LeBron. It was the occasional transition push here or there. Like when he saw a lane in transition on a kick ahead, he'd hit that gap and try to make a play. He'd draw a foul or he'd make a kick out pass, right? He would attack off the weak side. Like if he caught the ball open on the three-point line, he'd take a three or he'd drive a closeout, right? But everything where he was catching on the perimeter and it wasn't open, he was swinging that ball quickly, working it back to Luka and Austin and letting those guys work. In that early fourth quarter stretch, we started to see more of them running through LeBron in the post, right? We started to see more of, we did see one example of it in the first half where LeBron spun off of the post up and he got that lob to DeAndre Ayton. That was one example of it that we saw. We saw it briefly in like the early second quarter, if you guys remember. And it was very similar to a play that Luka Doncic had made with Jackson Hayes. I can't remember which game it was. It was like a week or so ago. But a lot of times what teams will do on post ups is they will play that middle position. So if the guy's posting on the right block, they won't let him get to his right shoulder towards the middle. And if they're posting on the left block, they won't let him get to his left shoulder towards the middle. They'll kind of wall up, forcing you to spin towards the baseline where they already have help waiting, right? And that works against most players because most players can't, anticipate the reads fast enough. But we saw a play a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago where Jackson was in the dunker spot and Lucas spun off of it and knew the help was coming and just like one timed the pass to Jackson. Jackson got a dunk. And then LeBron does the exact same thing tonight. They're overplaying the middle. He spins towards the baseline. He knows the helper's coming off of Ayton. He throws the little lob right to the front of the rim, and Ayton dunks it. And we saw a lot of that sort of thing in that early fourth quarter run when LeBron and Austin were so good. Just like simple reads for LeBron in action, right? And like that's how you end up with 12 assists in a game where he's barely looking to be aggressive on the ball. This is a team that's going to set him up with all sorts of advantages. He's going to be being aggressive against bench lineups. And in those sorts of situations, he's going to get all sorts of coverages that are going to give him easy reads. Like, oh, I call for a quick screen from Jackson and Jackson's man shows up high. Like, I'm just going to throw the pocket pass to Jackson and we're going to get a dunk. And he gets a massive, kind of jump. You rarely see Jackson jump off of 2 feet, but he goes off of 2 feet and throws down that jackhammer dunk, right? Like, oh, I'm going to curl off of this little 2-man game towards the baseline and like Ayton's rolling towards the middle and the big is once again sticking with me. Like I'm just going to shovel it to Ayton here. How many transition reads did we see tonight where LeBron is just like, okay, you're leaving Jake LaRavia wide open or Gabe Vincent wide open on the weak side. Here's a rifle pass. Like I'm working into the lane, curling off of action again. You're pinching down off of Jake LaRavia. Here's another pass. Like LeBron is going to make the reads every time you leave somebody open. That's something that he's done forever. And it's one of the great strengths of his game. And like that, I thought LeBron just did such a wonderful job tonight of like inserting himself into the offense without disrupting Austin and Luka's rhythm, while at the same time adding this like tangible amount of playmaking ability. Again, like at his core, What LeBron is a 6'9" giant athlete that is great at dribble shooting and passing and has a very high basketball IQ. It's not hard to figure out how he's going to find ways to kind of insert himself into the game. And I just thought he did a great job. He didn't disrupt anybody's rhythm, played within the flow of the game, like asserted himself when he could, made simple reads. Like, did LeBron take the toughest shot he took tonight was one in the second half where he passed up a three on the left wing, drove into the lane, got into the defender's chest, and kind of just faded over his right shoulder, a little short jump shot. It was like the only really tough shot he took tonight. Everything else was like a wide open catch and shoot three or an aggressive attack towards the basket when he saw an opening. And for the most part, the defense was reacting to him, and he was just making simple and easy kickout reads out of those situations over and over again. So, like, again, like, I think a lot of people galaxy brain themselves out of this. And I understand it's just Utah, and this is I've said this. I'm on the record with this. It's not going to be perfect. It looked clunky at times tonight. You're inserting a very different player than the players that have been filling those minutes over the course of the last 14 games, right? So, like, there's going to be some clunkiness. I don't expect it to just be like a linear rise to greatness. Like, it's going to come with some bumps along the way. But overall, it's a simple dynamic. You have these awesome on-ball players. There's all sorts of advantages. Teams are sending two guys at Luka nonstop. The Lakers actually really struggled with that tonight, especially in the first half. Like, they couldn't get the ball out of the blitzes, and they were struggling to pay off those two on the ball situations with Luka. Like, there's a lot of stuff they got to clean up, but ultimately, LeBron is just a guy that addresses a lot of specific needs. You need more dribble, shoot, pass talent off of the Luka Austin advantage creation. LeBron brings that. You need another option so that when one of Luka or Austin is off the floor, you have an elite second side creator that can attack a post mismatch or curl out of an action and make a read and just give you that extra juice offensively. LeBron brings that. There's a defensive element. And by the way, like, the Lakers were very good on defense for the last, like, from the end of the third quarter through most of the fourth quarter until garbage time. But for the most part, they struggled tonight. And LeBron was like a step slow. Like, there were like two or three defensive rotations he made where I thought he anticipated the action just a touch late. And you could tell he just didn't quite have the same amount of lift as he usually has. And so he wasn't able to get a deflection or a block at the rim. Those are things that are going to come in time when he gets his conditioning back and he kind of gets retuned up to NBA speed. Like, we didn't even see much of the defensive element that he's going to bring to the table or the rebounding element that he's going to bring to the table. Like, this is a very good basketball team that's adding an incredible basketball player that specifically has a versatility element that helps address a lot of their specific needs. And so I don't think there's any reason to overthink it. I think they're going to be really good with LeBron. I think they're going to score a lot of points. I think they're going to be better defensively than they've been. We'll see what that means in the big picture. I still think they need to have an upgrade. I think ultimately for this Laker team to get to where they want to go, you need to have somebody that can play at the three between Luka and LeBron that is like a legitimate athlete that can play both ends of the floor at a high level. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't think Marcus is that guy. I don't think Jake LaRavia is that guy. I don't think Rui Hachimura is that guy. There's going to be something they got to figure out there if they want to get to like the Denver, Houston, Oklahoma City level. But like, when you get past that tier, it's kind of a mess of teams. And to me, out of that tier, it's hard to pick against a team that's got this type of top end talent that's playing the type of basketball that they've been playing. 11-4, they got 4 nights off now, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Play Sunday against Utah before a couple of in-season tournament games next week against Dallas and against Dallas and the Clippers, if I remember correctly. By the way, Utah has been much better at home than they've been on the road. I think they're 4-3 at home and 1-6 on the road. So, like, it's going to be a tougher game. One of the specific dynamics that we talked about earlier, they were really struggling with like screening action and guys slipping into open space and getting easy layups. There's a lot of stuff the Lakers got to clean up or they're going to get beat on Sunday down in Utah. So it's not a shoe-in, but I thought this was a very nice debut for LeBron. I thought he did a wonderful job of delicately inserting himself into the offense and showcased one of his great traits as an NBA player, which is the ability to just consistently make reads and to have the size and the ball skill to be able to make the passing reads out of those situations. A couple of the quick shout outs. Jake LaRavia had a nice game. looked a little rough early, but had a nice second half. Had a nice back cut off of a LeBron post up for a dunk. Finally got a couple of threes to go down. The Lakers centers, both DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes gave up a few offensive rebounds to Yusuf Nurkic. That's to be expected with the size mismatch that he's giving up there. But like you, Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton both did a ton of damage on the offensive glass in this game and did a ton of damage on rolls. Ayton like hitting little short jump shots or deep seals. Jackson just providing his classic kind of rim pressure in the pocket, attacking the basket with that athletic force that he brings to the table. Really nice win for the Lakers. Again, it wasn't perfect. They played a bad team. They played some bad defense for 2.5 quarters. They locked in and got the stops they needed. Luka got him going on offense in the late third. Austin and LeBron just blew the game open with their play to start that fourth quarter. Really nice debut for the LeBron Lakers. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting us and supporting the show. We'll be back tomorrow. I will see you guys then.